So thanks for willing to do this.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad we could make it work, and thanks for making this work over the holiday.
Yeah, no problem. And so, just for people who aren't aware, like I read up on your background of how you're originally pursuing medicine first.
Yeah, still thinking about it actually.
Okay. And
I love medicine. I mean, I don't love medicine. I love medical stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, medicine I'm not so fond of. So.
and I know that your first anime or voiceover audition was for Three by Three Eyes.
Oh, yes, it was 3 by 3 eyes. That's right. Okay, that's not the first one I got. Okay, that's why I was mixed up. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's correct.
And how did you personally take to dubbing?
Well, I mean, I've done commercials and like a couple of really tiny animation series before that, and some teaching type of videos they make for kids in other countries. And I don't know, I loved it. I have to honestly say I was a little confused about what anime was. Like Dangaizer had, the kind of like partially naked parts when they change. And I was like, I was like, God, this is a cartoon? Kids watch this? And
Yeah.
this is on TV. So it was a bit of an education for me. But I had Crispin Freeman directing me on, not on Dan Geyser, but on I Might Be Strawberry Eggs. And he was wonderful. And the person who directed me on Dan Geyser, I learned so much. And Jonathan Klein was there as well. So I approached it from the acting side, and I feel like I feel like I got the hang of it. So
And what
because of
another
them, because of their help.
yeah. Well, what another like really early one I haven't seen you talk about. Do you remember being Iris in Sakura Wars?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was Bang Zoom. And yeah, I completely remember her kind of sweet but spoiled, a little bit. She's a little bit spoiled kind of character. I actually have a figure of her, a little figure of her.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Not with me, but I have it.
And one of my, I think it would might have been like after a while, like later on, but one of my favorite roles of yours is Arimi in Marmalade Boy.
Oh, I loved playing Arimi. Yes, that was a favorite of mine too. And I was so surprised when I got cast in that because I was using a little bit of a lower pitch for myself, at that time. And we just mentioned I don't know if people know, but I play my mom in Strawberry Eggs
Okay.
also. And it's only bit pieces, but I don't know if people know that. Or one of my favorites was actually Eileen in Dan Geyser 3 because she was a bad girl. And I actually used that role to deepen my voice
Oh,
on the long term because I didn't do the role like I envisioned her. That wasn't exactly what they wanted for her. But I still do it. I still do that. I still do that character as part of my warm up, Eileen,
oh, that's
but I
cool.
do it differently than how she turned out. So like, kind of one of my favorites.
Well, one of my signature questions is asking what is the case where you've had to alter your voice the most significantly?
I'm gonna say I don't know if they did anything to it with sorry, it was Jatem
Yeah.
in Bedex.
Yeah.
I don't know if they did anything to it, but I definitely had to play around with my voice quite a bit. And when I do, I do those. Oh, there's other characters too, but when I do those characters, I do have to keep a watch because it on my voice, and the directors help me a lot because I tend to, if I get excited in that role, my voice goes up, and then it goes up a little bit, too high. I will also say Trinity Blood. Thank you. Sorry, Trinity
Yeah.
Blood. Where I played Asta.
Yeah.
Asta. So Asta was one of my first lower voice characters. That was a little bit of a bigger character, and that was a blast for me to do, and I was so excited. to be cast in it.
And do you think the case where you've had the most fun with a anime role is the Makonas?
I'm not sure. I really love the lower voice characters, because I'm surprised when I hear them back. Sometimes I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
so I have fun. I have a lot of fun with those. I know one show I play that nobody's probably ever going to see for kids. It's out of China, and I play the mom, and it was just the last right before COVID that we did the last bit of that. So I was definitely doing a lower voice than I normally do, and the mom's she's a little bit on the not always nice side. And so I have a lower voice for that. When I hear that one back, I'm like, that's me. Wow, cool. Like, I have a lot of fun with those. But I guess if I think about it, Black Mochina was really super fun because of how mischievous I'm gonna say he, even though it's not he or she, but I'm gonna say he was, like when he makes fun of Watanuki when they're dancing. I had a lot of fun with that one.
It's on a complete opposite side of that, but what is the darkest headspace you've had to get into for a character?
Okay, I play one of the main characters in it. She goes insane.
Oh, Kaede Shuffle.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Kaede was the darkest. That was the darkest headspace that I had to get into.
Okay.
She just flat out loses it. So yeah, that was definitely the darkest.
And do you always find something that you can relate to, even if a character is like that?
I try to put myself in the character's shoes as if the character was a real person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't find things in my real life that I can relate to. But somehow I think you can relate even if you don't realize that you're relating somehow. Mm-hmm. Does that make any sense?
Right.
Like, we've all been through really tough things, like in the case of Kaede, maybe. We've all been through really tough things that maybe there's just it's more like a what if, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, what if you lost it, went over the edge? What if these things, some things that you've been through just broke you up or broke you down? You know what I mean? I think, and Kaede, what's driving her is fear. Mm-hmm. And we all have that. We all have fear. Mm-hmm. So I didn't think of that when I was doing her. But if I'm trying to think of something that's maybe deep down inside that I don't always pay attention to, that might be one of those things that, when we're angry, it's a reaction to fear, usually to something that we fear. So that is something that, whether you realize it or not, whether you've been through, I have not been through what Kaede's been through, no, but not in real life. But whether you realize it or not, that you have had things that you've been angry at, and things that, that fear has driven, situations where fear has driven that anger. So I think as an actor, those things are underneath, even if you don't realize that you're actually using them. And I find the most fun with those characters that have been through that are completely unlike me. Mm-hmm. I have the most fun with those because I can pretend like, I can pretend I can be someone else. If that's why one of the things I love about acting is, like, if you're playing a bitch, well, hey, the badder you are, the better job that you're doing. And in real life, I'm not going to be like that, but I can climb into a character and, mm-hmm. let that bad side out that I never expressed. Does that make sense? Is that terrible?
No,
is that horrible?
I just went back over and listened to those episodes of Fate Zero again, and I just thought that what you did with Shirley was really well done and believable.
I really loved doing it. I mean, it was a small part, you know. Um, I always wish those kinds of characters there was more to them, but you know, that I got to do them longer, I guess. But yeah, I really had fun doing that, working with Tony on that.
Yep. I know I have a more underrated series, but one of your other fun roles is Zazie in Negima.
Um, let me think for it. Oh yeah, Zazie's really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just had another one in my brain, and it suddenly left my brain. That was, you know, there's a fun underrated. Well, she's barely in the series, but Rumiko Takahashi anthology. I play this older woman that no one knows I play.
Oh, okay.
I think her name is Oda. And all she says is something like my father is the head of the city council, and blah 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 blah. And I don't know, I just so I have fun with stuff like that nobody knows about, and just a smaller tiny role. I mean, she probably only has one little paragraph where she's on the phone.
Mm-hmm. And since I brought it up too, what about with Artemis and Tsukuyomi?
Artemis. Oh, that was really, you know what was the neatest thing about that? Is Colleen, the director,
Blankenberg.
had said she was like, who can I get to play Monica's little sister, because she has to have a higher voice. And just getting to play Monica's little sister, and that was just really fun. And also, yeah, she was really dark at first, you know. And I think that was one of my learning. I had to learn how to do the character more monotone. You know, I had to learn that a little bit. Brina Valencia, kind of.
Yeah. And how did you get involved with How'd you get involved with working on directing Oron?
Substituting for Caitlin. She just asked me if I could come in and substitute. I think I'd already substituted for a little bit of One Piece. I think for Mike, I said Michael, but Mike McFarlane. Was it Mike McFarlane who was directing One Piece?
Yeah.
Originally, I think I had done a little substituting for One Piece. I had done a tiny bit of substituting for, was that before? No, I don't think that was before Oron Host Club. But yeah, I think Caitlin asked, and I was like, yeah, cool, fun, I'd love to do it. And it, you know, the actors knew their stuff, so, you know.
It's interesting that you've been, obviously you've been part of LA dubs, Texas dubs, and New York dubs.
Oh yeah. I feel very lucky and privileged to have been able to work with all the people in these different states. I think the only one I'm missing is like Canada and North Carolina, like.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, those are the ones that I'm missing. But I feel very blessed to have worked with people in both states. I love all three states. I love all the people that I worked with, every single last one of them. I adore them, and I just feel so blessed to have gotten to work with all of these people, whether I was in a show with them, whether I got to a little bit direct them, or whether they directed me. I think I'm most thankful to the directors who directed me, because you always learn from them, you know.
And it's on the topic of New York dubs that I know there's still a really big following with Ikitosen.
There is. Okay, I haven't heard about that in a long time. I actually have an Ikitosen. Do I have it in this room? Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
I think I have it in this room. Okay, so here's one of my first. And I tried to like cover in the skirt, the panty shot. And then, it's kind of my hospital bag. So I don't realize sometimes what I'm carrying into the hospital with me, and I'm like, to like turn it around because I'm like, oh crap, yeah, that's right. There's like a half-dressed girl on the front of it.
Yeah.
2 half-dressed girls on the front of it. And I'm like, oh, I better should turn that around so people aren't looking at that.
Mm-hmm. You have a lot of affinity with Hafuku then?
Do I have affinity with her? I don't know if I have an affinity with her. It's what I have an affinity with, if I'm thinking of that word the way that I think you mean it, is the ditzy part of her. And it's not that I'm ditzy in real life, it's that my voice makes people think I'm ditzy.
Mm-hmm.
And my own father treated me as if I was ditzy. So that gives me kind of an affinity with her, even though I actually know that I'm really, really smart. Just being mistaken as being ditzy. And also, I really love playing ditzy. I got to admit it, I love it. I think it's the most fun thing in the world to play ditzy.
Yeah.
So, and I wish I could fight with her, like not with her, but as like her, I wish that I knew martial arts and was a good fighter like her. So
well, it's a similar character with in Kenichi, the mightiest disciple.
Oh, that character I love, right? She's legitimately tough. Mm-hmm. You know, behind all that, she's legitimately tough, and nobody can take advantage. People take advantage of Hakufu. Mm-hmm. You know, one of the first scenes is, "Are you a bra salesman?" You know, but with Miu, you know, nobody's going to take advantage of her. You know, when she gets tough, she really gets tough. Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorite. That's a favorite that I often forget to mention, but yeah, I love that one.
And this is going into video games for a sec. I know you've been Diao Chan for a long time.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun playing that role and working with people at Voice Group who dubbed it, and the director, and I was always glad to be called back for that. And for the other character, I loved the fact that Diao Chan was supposed to be a very strong warrior in that game. Sorry, and I love that there's real history behind it too. I think the history is a lot different than the video game from what I've heard or read, but I was my other Jing, is it Jing Kai, one of the other girls? I have to admit that I'm very confused as to how she can fight with fans. So, very confused by that.
Yeah. Well, and everybody else that I've talked to who's been part of Dynasty Warriors said that it was kind of more difficult to bring emotion or acting to that because they wanted they wanted the characters to talk like how they did way back then, and kind of still did. And
oh, I know what they're saying. Okay. I understand what they're saying, but I didn't feel that way. And maybe it doesn't show. I hope it shows, but I don't think I felt that way. Only maybe it's because of my theater background.
Yeah.
You know, and Shakespeare and all of that, which I don't think I'd done a lot of at the time. But you know, some of the later ones when I flew back to do those, I think I had been involved in Shakespeare then. So
I know you've been playing Celica in Blaze Blue for a while too.
Oh yeah. I think she just kind of talks like me mostly, though. The lighter side of me.
And there seems to be a pretty good fan base just solely for your character in Disgaea as well.
No,
Yeah.
like I feel like I haven't done that in forever. That's so cool. I had a blast on those too. And I was confused by each little like each time I came back to do it, it's an extension pack, right? That's
Yeah.
when I was confused by how the character had changed. It took me a little getting used to. I'm like, wait, what's up? Why is it what so what brought her to this point, you know? How'd she get here?
I think these are more early LA roles, but it's the same creator of Marmalade Boy, and you got to be the female lead in Ultramaniac.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. That was definitely a blast, and working with Stephanie Shea and in that was really, really fun. And I was so lucky to have gotten that part. It was great.
I'm sure this is probably obvious, but you find it easy to connect to more realistic characters like that.
Innocent characters, yeah, I do connect with them easier. And she was innocent. So I think I probably do connect with them. Yeah.
And kind of like Karen in School Rumble as well.
Oh no, she was just fun with that high voice. Oh, and the singing was a big deal for me. Because I love to sing and I'm not very confident with it.
Oh.
I had to work really hard to get to sing that, and I was so grateful to Brina for her direction and her voice direction, because if it wasn't for her, I don't think I would have gotten to do it. So I think my singing was the favorite part of that for me. But
is that the main instance where you've gotten to be able to sing for anime?
I'm going to say that's the main instance, because she has kind of two solos.
Yeah.
But the I've sung in other anime, but it's been part of a group. So.
Okay. And this is would have been a Texas-based dub, but Witchblade, Free Hoko.
I just think that show is awesome, and I know there's fan service, but it like really mixes in with the storyline really well.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? It's not just, it has a basis. It's kind of like not just in your face. Oh God, I was so blessed to get to play Rico, and I really wish that show had gotten to go on, because I know she was going to be the next Switchblade, and wow, that would have been so much fun. But yeah, I was so blessed to be able to get to play that, and for Jamie Markey to be the Witchblade. Yeah, my mom. So fun. It was so fun how she's kind of the caretaker of her mom. So.
And this is one that a lot of people don't talk about, but I like Read or Die.
Oh yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite. I'm sorry, I'm now saying everything my favorites, but that's one of the favorites I usually think of when people say like, "What are your favorites?" My predecessor, who played that role in the OVA, I love her, and I love that voice, and to get to like kind of do a recap on that character was really, really cool. And also I kind of knew it was coming before it came, and so I got to build up my excitement on playing her, you know. And she kind of goes through this little arc of getting back to her old self a little bit. So,
well, this
was a good show. Sorry.
What is the case with which characters you played that you personally relate to the most? Like if there was a single one, or
it's Raka and Haibane Renmei.
Okay.
And it's because, and this is stuff that's not intentional on the creator's part. Nobody would have known that I was gonna relate to this, but it's when she is okay, when she says to the bird, when the bird, she's in the hole in the well, when she falls in the well, and she says to the bird, you came over the wall, you came here just to show me that I was loved, because she thinks that this is not the part I relate to, not the part of what you think may have been her suicide, or that she thought she wasn't loved, and that's not what I'm saying. Please, it's when she says to the bird, you came just to show me that somebody cared about me, or that, I can't remember exactly how she says it, but you died so that see, I'm a Christian, and that's what Jesus did.
Yeah.
So that's what I related to the very most.
Okay.
And
yeah.
I think the rest of it, I think the whole thing about her feeling like she wasn't loved or whatever, and you get the idea that she might have killed herself. I think that too many people in this world go through that. And I think that's a very real thing. And I think that is very important. Even that's not something I personally have felt, thank God, but or I just think that's a very real thing that people in this world are often dealing with. And so I think it's really cool that that's addressed in that show. Whole big question of the show, why am I here?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Does not ask that question. Who of us does not ask that question?
Mm-hmm. And I think would most recently, like the last anime you worked on, be in the JoJo Stone Ocean?
Nobody tells me when I can talk about things. Oh, fun. That was a blast.
Yeah.
That was an absolute blast. See what I mean? to like use that kind of like that it's that tired, sarcastic side of my voice. Not that good at being sarcastic, but I have those thoughts, and also that kind of that tired, crackly side of my voice that I get, that I actually got to use that kind of a lower, like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wasn't the sweet part. It wasn't the excited part. It was like the, yeah, you're, yeah. It's the annoying part. The annoying part of my voice. Yeah. I got to like zero in on that. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, it was cool to see you in that, because I didn't necessarily expect it.
I didn't expect it. When I went in to record it, I didn't know. I didn't expect it either. I was like, but I knew she was a prison. I knew that she was a character in the prison. So I was like, oh, this is probably going to be really interesting and really cool, because it's not usually the sweet ones that are in a TV show in the prison. So
Mm-hmm. This is rewinding again to a more obscure but realistic romance, Eyes. Itsuki.
Yeah, I can't believe you brought that up. Nobody ever brings that up.
Oh.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
That was a blast. They were all a blast, but that was really fun too. I actually, because I wish it wasn't so short.
No.
Yeah, that was a really fun character to do, and yeah, got a little risque in the extra thing they did, but but the character was really fun. Oh, definitely. Poor Heartbroken.
Mm-hmm. And it's like an action show, but Priscilla in Gunsword.
Oh yeah, no, okay, that's one I relate to, because she what is it? She's like wants to open an orphanage or something to that effect. And I have always wanted to go. When I thought I was going to be a doctor, I had sort of also thought that I might open an orphanage overseas, to welcome in kids who had no parents. So that's a character that I definitely related to.
What about anything with Lizana and Fairy Tale?
My favorite thing is is I think it's in the beginning of your introduction with her. It's like the second part of the introduction when she's in another world. Sorry, my nose is itching. When she's in another world, and then she comes back. I was bawling my eyes out in the studio. In the studio, and when you get to play a character that somehow hits you like that, and you feel like you're not acting, and it's not because of anything that happened, it's not because of the real thing that happened to her, it's nothing like that, it's just that the emotions were so real. Really cried in almost everything I was supposed to cry in. Okay. Mostly, I don't know. So sometimes it depends on how silly the show is. Sometimes if it's super silly, it's harder to cry. But and I don't know if anybody ever I don't think the directors even know that sometimes like there's tears running down my face in the studio. But and that's my real acting side. I mean, I guess that's what happens when I'm playing character on stage or on camera, which is extremely rare, especially nowadays. But I guess I'm one of those cry on cue people, but I can't manufacture it. I can't like fake it. It just really happens.
And I wasn't sure, but one thing I always like asking voice actresses as well, if you've done boy voices, like what is your process for boy voices? So
yes, and I have done boy voices. I don't think I've done the only SEI. That was again, Brina directed it. Brina Palencia directed it. And that was really fun because I don't often get to do that. Most of the time when I play boy characters, they're just bits, they're shorter lived. So I don't get to do that very often. My process is I have to kind of get into a negative attitude to get to that boy voice. So I have to get into like a rough and tumble, like, God, this is so embarrassing, but I have to like, I don't like girls. Girls are no fun. They play with dolls and stuff. And then I have to adjust it. So then I have to adjust that. I made that up. Sorry, I just totally made that up to help myself get into the attitude of a boy, but it's very cartoony boy. And then I have to make sure that I'm keeping my voice in the chest range.
Right.
And because it's really easy for it to go up, especially if it's a little boy. So I have to work on keeping my voice in the chest range. And then I have to soften it because boys are not all boys are that aggressive or that, you know what I mean? Like boys are very normal. So like, I have to sometimes change my mouth space a little bit too. No way, because I talk very girly, and I think I know, this is technical, but I think because I'm talking high and up, and I have to like kind of change that and kind of put it a little bit lower, put my resonance a little bit lower in my mouth. Does that make any sense? And just really focusing on keeping it in the chest. And I think I have to form my words a little bit different.
Okay.
I speak very, very girly.
I
have a lot of fun with it. I just don't get to do it. That's it. Thank you. Yeah. Yes. What show is that again? What's the name of it?
Black Blood Brothers.
That's it. Thank you. Yes, that's it. Say didn't talk very much, but still. Yeah, most of the boys I get to do are I audition for them a lot, but most of the time, they're just bits. So not just bits. I mean, I have fun with bits too, but they're not very long lived. I feel like I don't get enough practice.
Well, the other main vampire show that you actually had a substantial role on, we haven't brought up yet, is Vampire Night, as Rima.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really fun. All I can think of is it's time to feed. So it's like,
yeah,
definitely a vampire. And then seeing people dressed at her at conventions was kind of really neat.
Do you still get, or did you still get like a lot of people coming up to you or contacting you about Salty?
Salty Ray?
Yeah.
No, I don't feel like I do. A little story behind Salty Ray.
Like how you got the role?
Before I got not really how, but before I got the role, like 2 years, I believe, before, I was at is it Anime Boston? And the creator or the artist for that was there, and he gave us all a book, and it was Salty Ray, but I didn't know this was I don't know if it had even come out yet. I didn't know it was an animation series or anything, but I was talking to Carrie Walgren, and this is a very long time ago. And we were both guests there, and we were looking at the pictures, and I was like, I don't know if this is an anime, but if this was an anime, I would play her. And I pointed to Salty, and a little voice in my heart said, and so you shall.
Wow.
And I wound up getting to play her. Pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah.
And that was like 2 years, I think, before we recorded that show. Gosh, here's a character for you. I think her name is Mitsue Suzuka. Was it Suzuka? I think. Oh, Megumi. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I said. Okay. I think I said. Yeah, that's the one where she gets drunk and she's. I'm sorry. That's
okay.
I had so much fun. I had so much fun playing that character too.
Well, I was just gonna say, outside of JoJo, I think the most recent thing that you can like safely talk about is Code Breakers. Oh no, Phantom Break Omnia. That's what it is.
There we go. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I was really excited to do that because that's related to the pink Rima.
Yeah.
And that whole confusing show that she comes from. Yeah, I'm sorry, didn't know that was the one that you were. I'm like, that sounds familiar, but yeah, I did. And in fact, I got a gift from them. I got a package from them recently. It was really neat.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
there's a coffee cup and there's a Negima figure. No, not Negima. I'm sorry. Naruto. A Naruto figure. And a hat and like a bunch of keychains. So nice of them. It was like such a surprise. And my t-shirt, I wear the t-shirt that they sent me all the time.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Well, my final question is always asking, what do you want your legacy to be?
I don't know if I've ever been asked that or really thought of it. Yeah. I want my legacy, I guess, to have made people to have somehow played characters that like Raka and Hibernate made that that made people question the important things of life.
Okay.
And come to positive answers about it. And also, which it, one of the things that had a really big impact on me that came from a fan is when they said that I think it was Shin-chan, my Shin-chan character.
Penny, yeah.
Yeah, Penny, that helped them get through a family member's death.
Oh,
that caused them to laugh so that they were able to get through a little bit of the heartache. And that's something I never would have thought of. I never would have thought that something that I played could help somebody. So if any character that I've played can help somebody, either somebody who's going through a rough time, come out of it, or not do maybe something sad. Does that make sense? So it can cheer them up so that they get through a rough time. That it can help them get to a positive outcome or a positive life change.
Yeah.
And this is just going to sound so religious, but if I can somehow point the way to relationship with God, and I don't know many characters that do that, but it's kind of a big deal for me. That's kind of why I'm here, I think. Yeah. So, and then, well, outside of anime, I still always want to make a difference. I still look forward to the next time that I can go overseas and help build an orphanage, or help a doctor bring medical care somewhere. Since I didn't become a doctor myself, or bring the light of God to somebody, in another country, not here or in another country. It might seem so not important to some people, but it's kind of a big deal for me.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I think my purpose is.
Yeah, I understand. Well, thanks. I'm glad that we got to do this.
Yeah, me too. I'm so sorry for the titles and the names that I can't remember. It's so hard. It's like looking at this list, and it's like, I'm so old now. I've done so many things, and I hope there will be so many more things that I won't be able to remember titles. And some of it's not, some of it's just, you tend to remember the ones that you worked on more.
Right.
Does that make sense? That you had a longer time of working on, and then the ones that you didn't spend as much time on, you forget the names. You forget the names and stuff. So, and some of those I forgot weren't ones that they were ones that I worked on a lot, but I still couldn't think of the names. It's just a bit of a stressful time period, I guess. Everybody knows that. You're awesome, by the way.
Oh,
Can you still hear me? Thank you for all the stuff you're doing to interview people. I bet it's really cool. I think it's really cool, and I like that did you just like you started doing this on your own, right? I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I kind of got inspired to do it after I like virtually met Eric Vale through GalaxyCon, and then that was in April of 2020, and then I just started to want to reach out to, because a lot of the voice actors I'm personally a fan of, I really hadn't seen talk about like the roles that I like of theirs. So it started with Wendy Lee, and then it kind of just went on from there. So
cool. Oh, I'm so glad. And I haven't seen Wendy in forever. I miss her. So but at least I'm in LA, maybe I'll get to see her again somewhere.
Right.
But yeah, I'm so glad. It's so great. And you're so young to be doing this, and that just makes me I think it's even cooler.
Oh, thank you.
You're like not wasting your time. You're creating something.
Yeah.
So that's so awesome.
Thanks.
Anyways, thanks for doing this. Thank you for touching base with all of us. And I love that you're talking about characters that other people don't talk about as much. So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye.